Thank you for staying with us. As promised, we carry you right now to the live draw for HDC and the Ministry.
Alright, so good afternoon everyone. Again, we will of course begin this evening's proceedings right after the singing of the national anthem. I'd like to invite you all to stand, and those of you viewing us online, join as well. About who can sing best or not, but I couldn't tell if you were singing because everybody smashed up. Good job, guys. Hello again. I am Ianko Williams, and I am happy to be partnering with the HDC today, as this afternoon I'm hosting a live housing draw right here at the headquarters at Salkey. Now, this is not the first time that a draw has been done, but it is in fact the first time that a draw has been done live. So it's a bit of excitement, and I know you, the viewing public, are excited too, but I do want to keep you informed, as today is just the first of two draws that will take place, where we will be selecting 500 persons from the database to be interviewed for allocation. It may sound complicated, but I assure you, we will be expressing what will happen step by step. It's all about making sure that you are just a little bit closer to home ownership. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I've been looking at some of the developments, and they've done a very good job of updating the aesthetics. So if we look at the developments close to the C3 Center, we're seeing some nice townhouses in Marabella. There are a couple of beautiful options as well in the east in Derby. The newer developments are pretty gorgeous as well. So, to those of you who are entered, best of luck, and hopefully you'll be happily getting yourself into one of these newer homes. Now, in the past, you would look at these homes and decide, well, yes, this is absolutely an HDC development, or no, this is not. But now, because of those changes, it's all about just being a homeowner, no longer an HDC home. I must, of course, recognize the Honorable Minister, the Permanent Secretary, and the HDC Managing Director, auditors from PwC, and you are observers. Now, you're of course glued to your TV screens, your phones, your laptops, and it's all about getting into the draw of just 500 individuals and families to get your interviews. But before we actually begin that process, you need to be informed. So, here is the Honorable Retired Major General Edmund Dillon, Minister of Housing and Urban Development, to give the context and provide you with some updates.
Thank you very much for those warm words of introduction. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, Ms. Simon Mora, Managing Director of the HDC, Mr. Brent Lyons, auditors from PwC, members of the media, eager applicants, and of course members viewing on the World Wide Web and on social media. Indeed, it's a very pleasant good morning for me, or good afternoon in fact, for me. I think it's a very defining moment for the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, a defining moment for the HDC, a defining moment for those on our database, because today we are in fact doing, for the first time, as mentioned before, a live, modified, random selection process. One in which I think we are very happy to do. When one considers the amount of people on our database, we have to come up with creative solutions. And this is not very creative, it is in fact a mandate for the Ministry of Housing and in fact the HDC. That ever so often we do the random selections. And we have done it before. As mentioned before, this is the first time we're doing it live. And the reason why we feel we should do it live is really because if given the situation relevant to the COVID-19 virus and the pandemic and so on, and the very measures and protocols that we're observing, we felt that we must still be transparent. We must still give our citizens the ability to see us, to view us in a very transparent manner. So this live broadcast is in fact, this live random selection is one of two that will happen in the next couple of months or so. I would like to no doubt inform you that given our large amount of people in the database, we believe that we must in fact come up with these kind of solutions. So since taking up my assignment as Minister of Housing and Urban Development, I have been inundated with requests from applicants seeking housing units from State's housing program. I felt it is very important that we spend some time clarifying and sensitizing our applicants and the wider population about the process involved in the allocation of this very limited resource provided by the state. One of the major priorities of the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development's mandate is the provision of quality, affordable housing solutions to eligible potential beneficiaries. Our goal is to ensure that every deserving low to low middle income family has the opportunity to live decent, dignified, and rewarding lives, regardless of their locality or position in society. From time to time, when housing units are available, random draws are carried out as mentioned before. This is related to the fair and equitable allocation policy implemented by the HDC to serve the approximately 180 plus applicants in our database. This public housing policy has been developed since 2004 to ensure greater equity of the process so that all applicants, once they're eligible for the program, have an equal opportunity of being randomly selected for the allocation of their choice. Once the applicant meets the program eligibility criteria, which are in fact, you must be a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago. Household income must not exceed $25,000 per month. You must be a first-time homeowner. And of course, we take into consideration the areas of the desired locations that you have indicated to us. For this draw, our selection criteria will encompass eligible applicants who have cited Arima, Chaguanas, or San Fernando as their preferred choices, and whose monthly income is within the range, as I said, roughly between $4,000 to $25,000 per month. As you would appreciate, the housing program, by its very nature, touches every facet of human development. We at the ministry hold to the premise that any investment made in the housing sector, now and in the future, is a direct investment in our citizens and their families. As Minister of Housing and Urban Development, I am proud of the work of this ministry and by extension, the Housing Development Corporation, which has been able to accomplish in the last 5 years a tremendous work. To date, we have distributed almost 3,000 units to the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago between 2015 to now. They continue to fulfill what I consider one of the basic needs of man or woman. As Maslow mentioned, the provision of shelter. We will continue to do so because we believe, and the government do believe, that we have a duty to provide housing, provide shelters to our citizens, especially those in the low and middle income bracket. We have every intention of continuing the distributions. We have an intention of doing so through the random draw and of course through the other criteria, providing for the defense and protective services, providing for those who are challenged, and all other as mandated by a government's policy. We remain committed to exploring viable housing initiatives to augment our housing stock so that more eligible families can benefit from the state's housing program. Given available resources, we at the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development and its agency will do all our part to ensure that we meet some of the pent-up demand for houses, and we know that it's there. Ladies and gentlemen, today, as I said, is a defining moment, but it's also a happy moment. It's a happy moment because we are in fact broadening the scope, widening the catchment area to ensure a larger amount of our citizens can benefit through our housing development program. So in closing, I would like to thank the Permanent Secretary and the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, and in particular the HDC, for continuing to execute government's mandate to assist and to provide housing solutions to our citizens. And I want to urge those who would benefit from today's program, and I wish everybody well. While we are looking at 500 applicants at this occasion, and the next occasion we'll roughly be looking at another 600. Because we are insisting and we are trying as best as we can to provide the basic needs of man or woman, provide every citizen with a chance to own or to benefit from the government's housing policy and housing solutions. So to all, I say, may God bless you all, may God bless our nation, and I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minister. And I am genuinely grateful for the information you've imparted, because we all knew there is an allocation system, but didn't necessarily know the specifics therein, the criteria in some cases. And of course, the good news of catering to men and women of our service, the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, the Defense Service, the Fire Service, and the elderly and persons with disabilities. As far as I understand, since 2016, 525 homes have been allocated to servicemen and women alone, so that is beautiful. But of course, now, with that information out of the way, I invite you to look at your screens. What will be on display will be 500 names and reference numbers. Now, at some point, you will see your name and reference number, hopefully. And that excitement alone is contagious, but you need to stay focused. Here she goes. For those of you viewing online, what you're witnessing is the actual process of random selection. Names, reference numbers, and locations are about to be chosen. But in the meantime, I do want to give you guys a few bits of, insight as to the entirety of the process. Now, back in 2016, the HDC implemented a 22-point certification quality management program, which sounds pretty complicated, but it really just means that the homes that you're about to receive have gone through some stringent processes and some high standards that they had to adhere to before they have been dubbed suitable for persons to receive. So there is a sign-off and approval process that guarantees the contractors are adhering to the highest possible standards. Beautiful stuff, right? Things to look forward to. Of course, you do not need to record any of these names or numbers. Just look for yours. And we will, of course, provide a full list thereafter. So don't be too nervous. Just keep the excitement coming. Another part of the program that you'd be happy to know about is that we are certainly making sure the homeowners are getting good-looking homes. We talked about the aesthetics before, and these designs are completely internally done by HDC's very own architects. So in addition to being more modern and aesthetically pleasing, they've also considered the needs of the diverse families within the database. It means that you are going to be able to get exactly what you need, not just a roof over your head. And you can see this in some of the communities in Bonaire, in Karina Gardens, which is in Arima as well, Harmony Hall in Marabella, and Corinth in San Fernando. Quite a few beautiful examples. If you're just joining us though, hopefully your reference number and name comes up. But what you're witnessing is the random selection process as we get 500 persons closer to home ownership. Have no fear, we will explain to you how you're going to take your next steps. But for now, congratulations to those of you whose references have been called. Now, earlier this year, another initiative that the HDC embarked on would be the Small and Medium Contractors Housing Initiative. This basically challenges contractors to create homes for under $500,000 to benefit lower income families on the public housing database. Now, many contractors have expressed interest, so much so that in just a few weeks, the HDC will be doing a turning of the sod for the first set of projects under this initiative. Have no fear, homes will be there. And to the lucky persons who have already been selected as reference numbers and names are being chosen at random, congratulations. Homes are, of course, the space that we're going to spend our time in, but the communities that we are going to be in have to do with the people and the families that are there. And over the last 4 years, the HDC has constructed more than 20 play parks in its quest to develop sustainable communities. 4 parks were constructed in support from First Citizens, and a further 17 parks are on the schedule for construction. So in addition to beautiful homes, some of these communities are outfitted with play parks and open spaces so that children can grow and develop positively. We are doing the best that we can with the spaces that we have, and some of you are going to be in those spaces very, very soon. Of course, because you're joining us on Instagram and Facebook, safe at home, you can feel free to comment and give us your insight, because this is just the first of many to come. It, of course, is the first live, and we're happy to have you joining us. Now, we have a few more names to be selected, and you don't have to record all of them. But we will be getting into 500 names so that you will be called in for your interview and allocation. Next steps to follow. If you're just joining us online, what you're witnessing is steps closer to home ownership. I'm wondering if anybody has been counting. How many hundreds have we hit so far? And of course, online, these details will flash across your screen very, very quickly. Remember, you are only looking for your name, if at all, and we will provide you with a list to reiterate the successfully chosen persons. This is the very first live draw as the HDC continues to provide housing options for the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. Now, this is the first of 2, and as our Minister explained, the next should see a larger number of applicants taken from our existing database of over 180,000 applicants. Please be sure to have all your documentation ready because we are ready to go. And if you do not have your reference numbers or details handy, don't worry, we'll be ready to answer your questions and concerns, even giving you guidelines as to how we'll execute the rest of this process. Now, choosing 500 persons would be virtually impossible to do manually. And of course, this is a tried and true process where we have continuously selected persons before. The only difference is now it's on Facebook. Be sure to follow the social media pages for the HDC to continue to be appraised of this process. And of course, congratulations to the persons who are a step closer towards home ownership. I will be getting a signal as to when we've reached to 500. But for now, fingers crossed. Guys, remember you're safe at home. And as far as the COVID pandemic goes, it will not stop the HDC in providing and committing to its mandate to provide homes across the country. Today we are specifically allocating to persons interested in the Arima and South areas, among others. And of course, in the next draw of this kind, at a date to be announced, we will introduce even more persons. So, this process is ongoing, and we don't expect you to watch this entire list of 500 persons being selected. If you'd like to, come on down. No, I'm kidding. If you'd like to, you can continue to join us on Facebook as we will continue to stream live. But we do want to break up that monotony a little bit. We do know that you're going to be very, very happy when you get to home. So we're going to make sure that we continue that happiness. At this point, has anyone taken account? Those of you viewing at home may not realize that we don't have a full room of persons, but we do have a small audience with us. We are at a little over 248. Thank you, sir. So that we're almost there, almost at the halfway mark. Now, masks or no masks, we can still see excitement in people's eyes, and so I'm definitely feeding off of you guys, since these selected persons will be one step closer to home ownership. Yay! When we hit that halfway mark, I will remind you guys of some of the specifics of the process. But for the most part today, congratulations to all of the persons selected. If you're just joining us, because we are live on TTT and HDC's Facebook pages, we're also live on HDC's YouTube page. You're witnessing the random and live selection process of 500 applicants in our database of over 180 persons here in Trinbago. 180,000. My mistake. So you may be just one of 500 for this draw. There will be others. But we are making sure that you have your 3 seconds of fame as your reference number, and name will flash across the screen once you are randomly selected. We will remind you that existing examples of the new designs do exist in Woodstar Villas in Bonaire, Carina Gardens in Arima, and Harmony Hall, Marabella. Beautiful examples of some of the structures that you may be able to access once you are selected in this draw. So, make sure that your documentation is ready, and of course you will be contacted to set up your appointments. It's all about making sure that HDC lives up to its mandate for homes for its citizens, with over 525 homes being provided to persons in our services, men and women that is. We expect that these numbers will grow even more, since we will be doing many more of these live draws, the next of which will see over 600 applications being explored. For those of you who may have been to other housing developments, you may be familiar with starter homes or more detailed options. They're all the brainchild of in-house architects who have considered the needs of the persons within the system, whether it be families or individuals with their first starter homes. Either way, the HDC continues to provide homes that have gone through stringent sign-off and approval processes, so that you will be getting not just beautiful homes, but homes that are going to meet your needs, whatever that may be. To those of you who are actually families moving to new neighborhoods, don't worry. We've also considered the need for green spaces and have already earmarked at least another 15 spots to be done, 17 to be exact, in the near future. Partnerships with First Citizens makes that possible in some instances, but we are definitely creating spaces for families to thrive and for communities to grow. We are looking well past the mid-mark as more persons are being selected for your interview process. I can't see the numbers from here, but you guys at home, we're at 400, meaning we are almost done, but just one step closer to home ownership. My huge internal crowd is just fixed on the screen because the excitement continues. Never before have we done a live draw, but it is all part of making sure that as much as you're safe at home, you're included in the process as we get ready to select 500 applicants to put them closer to home ownership. Now, this afternoon's proceedings has been very informative, but don't worry guys, it's going to get pretty entertaining in a couple of minutes more. Stay close to your Facebook, YouTube, and other social media sites for the HDC for more updates. I will remind our viewers and of course others joining us on television, social media and other sources that newer initiatives, namely the Small and Medium Contractors Housing Initiative, will create homes for under $500,000 to benefit low-income families on the public housing database. Now, with the interest of contractors, the HDC will very soon be doing a turning of the sod ceremony as we get ready for the first set of projects under this initiative. Brand new, existing, it doesn't get better than this. Well, maybe it does. But one step closer is one step closer, and we look forward to all 500 of our applicants in the Arima and South areas, among others, getting closer to home ownership. Now, we were just a couple moments away from the top 500. We are now at 475 thereabout. I'm estimating now because everybody's reference number and name stays up for just a couple seconds. But with the last few names to be selected, remember that you're looking at properties that are new or existing developments, spaces that allow for the growth of families, for children to play safely, for moms or dads that may be looking at the kids, be able to comfortably and securely continue their families, all thanks to the HDC. And of course, all of these details are going to be available to applicants in the database who have been successfully chosen and others who may have other questions and concerns. We are here to help and encouraging use of the Facebook live stream to ask your questions and, of course, include your thoughts on the process. We have reached our grand total. 500 selected names, reference numbers included, are now one step closer to home ownership. I don't know about you guys, but I am certainly happy about that. I know the minister is himself, and very proud. So keeping that sort of energy, that sort of excitement, that sort of happiness, we should celebrate with royalty. Joining us today is none other than the reigning groovy monarch. He sang the perfect song for those of you who have been selected to be one step closer to home ownership. Facebook, TTT at large, and all of our viewing audience, get ready as we are now going to be entertained by college boy Jesse.
Check, yeah. Definitely a happy moment. And we bring some happiness to the room. Happiness to the nation. Yeah. What? Sing the happy song now that day. Everybody just come along, yeah. Oh, gosh. What? College boy just say. We celebrating some happiness today. What? We so happy. Some new homeowners. It's a blessing to be here to share happiness to everybody, right? Oh God, nothing can feel good like this. Floating on the clouds like if I don't want no problem. I feel so. It's only good vibes we bring. That put me on the ceiling. I just love this feeling. It make me happy. If you wake up in a bad mood, I want you to shake it away. Some people want you to look good for yourself, but I'm better than them. In this life, when negative vibe it come your way, just ignore them. Cover your ears. La da da da. Sing the happy song. I can see the smiles through the mask. Yeah, la da da. We ain't doing nothing wrong. La da da. Gosh, check. Cause I feel good like if I win the lottery. I don't want no worry. God, I feel so happy. Cause I feel good like if I win the lottery. I don't want no worry. So we one step closer to the house, right? What we say? I love when I'm in this mood. Floating on the clouds like if I don't want no problems. I feel so irate. Right now everything that I do put me on this feeling. I just love this feeling. It make me happy. If you wake up in a bad mood, I want you to shake it away. Some people want you to look good for yourself, but I'm better than them. In this life, when negative vibe, we don't hear the negative. We celebrating happiness. Everybody, da 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 da. Sing the happy song, da da da. Everybody just come along, da da da. We ain't doing nothing wrong, da da da. Congratulations to everybody, one step closer. Feel good like if I win the lottery. I don't want no worry. God, I feel so happy with everything that's happening in the world. This is a good time to celebrate happiness. Congratulations to everybody. My name is College Boy Jesse. Thank you. Gosh. Sing the happy song.
And to the homeowners who are singing la da de la da de la. Yeah? Congratulations again on being one step closer to home ownership. Now, what does all of that mean? We've been saying it all afternoon long, but the draw has ended, so we know who will be selected. We have to, though, give you the formal process or the details therein and properly execute this process. So now that the draw has ended, we have the formal handover of the completed list to the HDC. I will now invite Mr. Jeremy Campbell, the Divisional Manager of Corporate Services, to receive the complete list from the database operator, Mr. Gary Romeo. So this, of course, is in making sure that we have complete transparency, since the printout of the names has been done, and now the proper hand. Thank you both, gentlemen. And so now, your name and number, you've seen it on the screen, and you're probably asking, what next? I now invite the HDC's Corporate Communications Manager, DK Noel, to basically summarize for you what happens next. Mr. Noel?
So congratulations again to all our prospective homeowners, those who have been selected. So you saw your name, you glimpsed a reference number, you weren't too sure it was yours, but it's easy. You could go to the HDC's website, hdc.gov.tt, that's hdc.gov.tt, to review the full list of names. We hope to publish the names before the end of the week. It's 500 names. There will be a lot of verification and reviewing because we will have to ensure that the names coincide with the reference number. So we intend to do that by the end of the week. So look out in the daily press for that. But we will be posting the names and the reference numbers on our website shortly, right? We will also, before that, there's a process, as you could imagine, and our minister and our host also spoke about our auditors who have been present, and they have to review the documentation also. As you know, it's to ensure that this process was transparent and followed all processes. So our website and the newspapers, in a few days, we will keep you updated via social media. So once you've been selected, you will be contacted by a representative of the allocations department. We'll give you the list of the compulsory documents to submit, date and time for your interview, and when and where that will be conducted. Now, of course, with COVID-19 restrictions, there will be some modification in how the interviews will be conducted. Some may be conducted at our village plaza, some may be electronically, some at staggered times at our head office, but you will be given all those details. So the documents may take a while to compile, particularly the police certificate and all these things. So start to compile documents you have already and keep them safe. Of course, we will be verifying all the originals against the copies that you submit. So those who may wish to do any fraudulent activity, your documentation will be checked. And you will then be required to submit all the documents via email or in a sealed envelope via our Dropbox. Now, all these details will be clarified for you by our allocations team. So once you qualify and successfully complete the interview, you will then be invited to view your unit, and the process moves forward from there. So we will repeat these steps on our social media platforms. We again congratulate all those whose names were selected, their reference numbers and their names. Before I pass you back to our host, I would really like to thank our auditors who have been here with us from PwC. I would like to thank our observers who were invited to witness the process. And I really would like to thank the Permanent Secretary and Minister for being here with us this afternoon. So I pass you back to Ayinka Williams, and we will wrap up this afternoon's draw. And just one correction that I just have to make, just for the record. This is the first random draw that has been done in a few years. One hasn't, first live, draw. A live was done previously, some years ago, but this is the first one that was done by this minister. So we, just to correct that a little bit, just to ensure that there may be any misunderstanding. So I pass you back to Ms. Williams.
And I'm not going to waste any more time because that excitement continues as you are one step closer to home ownership. Congratulations to all of those who were selected, and remember to visit www.hdc.gov.tt to review the list and ensure your reference number is there. Keep following HDC's social media platforms for the date of the next live draw, and until then, continue to sing like College Boy Jesse said. Thank you guys very much, and have a great afternoon.